Set. Gene, you good?
Not quite.
Something flew out.
Good?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming out tonight. Welcome to the Tuesday, April 25th, 2023 regular school board meeting of Warren Township High School. As we start off every meeting, if we could stand up and recite the Pledge of Allegiance, that would be great. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First up on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Do we have any changes to tonight's agenda?
No changes for me.
Nope.
Then I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Roll call.
Motion by Schultz and second by Drake. Mr. DeMonte?
Yes.
Mr. Carlson? Yes. Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Drake?
Yes.
Mr. Schultz?
Yes.
5 yes, motion carries.
Thank you. Next up, recognitions. It looks like we've got a few people to recognize tonight.
Yes,
Yep.
we do.
I'm going to hand the mic over to our two amazing principals here.
Good evening. Thanks for having us this evening. Mrs. Bertola and I are excited to recognize 27 students that have been recognized in the National Merit Scholarship Program. So at this time, if I can have all of our students that are being recognized in the National Merit Scholarship Program, if you guys can come forward and just stand here awkwardly in front of everyone.
Try not to tap your feet.
So parents, families, this is okay. Like if you need to get up and kind of move around and get a good photo op, it's okay to do that as I read some wonderful things about our students. So here we go. The National Merit Scholarship Program is an academic competition which began in 1955 for recognition and scholarships. Each year, they recognize about 50,000 of the students that took the qualifying exam. High school students enter the National Merit Program by taking the preliminary SAT and then the National Merit Scholarship qualifying test during their junior year. These scholarships are considered to be an important and prestigious award. Even students who qualify and don't win can earn honor and recognition and are able to use that to their benefit when it comes to applying to college. National Merit Scholars are heavily recruited by universities, and some are even given preferential treatment in admissions, housing, and course selection. Many selective universities seek to increase their number of National Merit Scholars. They may also receive attractive merit scholarships, and we would like to recognize the students in 4 distinct categories, which are National Recognition Program Scholars, National Merit Commended Students, National Merit Semifinalists, and ultimately National Merit Finalists. So first, the National Recognition Program Scholar provides recognition for outstanding high school students who identify in one or more of the following areas: African American, Hispanic American or Latinx, Indigenous, or attend a rural or are from a small town, which are none of you. Each year, the National Recognition Program Scholar identifies students from the United States and U.S. territories who take the PSAT and MSQT and score in the top 2.5% of test takers who identify in the stated categories. And Warren is proud to recognize 12 students this year. So we've got some certificates for you, or my helper, Mrs. Bertola, who's awesome. I think she was going to try and figure this out as I read names. So our students in the National Recognition Program Scholar are Melanie Adame, Emily Alcala. Sorry, I'll read through the group. Emily should be here. Yep, Emily's here. Yep, so they know who you are, Emily. So Emily Alcala, Jasmine Allen, Halia Guiano. Trying don't think Haley's here. Ashley Angelo, which I don't think Ashley's here. Serena Benton Siripi. Ariana Bond. Mateo Castro. Natalia Harris. I think she's here. Yep. Zachary James. Adrian Jones. And Yesenia Ruiz. So students who scored in the approximate top 3% of all test takers in the national, in the competition are recognized as commended students in the National Merit Program out of approximately 1.5 million test takers. These students do not continue in the scholarship competition, but they are recognized as a part of the top 34,000 students that took the exam because of their outstanding academic promise. And Warren is proud to recognize 13 outstanding students this year. And they are you ready?
Ready.
All right, she's ready. Abby Anderson, I don't think's here. Thomas Hale. Matt Ide. And Stephen Judge. And then Colin is here, Colin Lee. Aiden Majori. Erica Mladenova. Manahil Nadim. Lindsay Prims. Lindsay's here. Fahim Rafi. Yash Sharma. Nicholas Steinhilber. And Pavrithra Yarlagata. Okay, two left here. Approximately 1.5 million students took the PSAT and MSQT qualifying exam, and the National Merit semifinalists are made up of about 16,000 students that achieve this recognition by scoring in the top 1% in the nation. Warren is proud to recognize two students that were initially recognized as semifinalists, and they are Apurva Narahari and Andrew Wheeler. In this competition, the semifinalists all move on in the competition and the national to the national merit, and that makes up about 15,000 of the students that achieve recognition by scoring in the top 1%. About 7,500 of the students will receive some type of national merit scholarship, and Warren is proud to recognize both of our semifinalists that have moved on in the competition to become finalists. So congratulations to both Andrew and Apurva. Congrats. So one thing I'd like to do at this time, because it's a busy, exciting time for our seniors, if you could, for the board and the families here, I will not hold you to your final decision, but I know decision day is coming soon. So maybe, Colin, if we could start with you and just maybe name and where you're planning to go. If you guys haven't finalized that, because you got like 4 days to still to decide, it's okay. Maybe you can make that announcement now, it'll go viral. But get an idea of where you're going and maybe what you want to major in. Colin, you want to just kind of tell everyone?
I'll be going to the University of Notre Dame.
I will be going to Mizzou University.
I'm undecided about the
How about one more round of applause for all of our National Merit students? Congratulations to each of you. Graduation is just a little bit longer of a ceremony, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys very much.
Great job.
And then this is where we ask the board to take a PSAT so we can compare our scores to theirs, right?
Not a chance.
PSAT.
Oh, what?
At this point in the meeting, I usually say, thank you all you students, the National Merit students. You're very welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting. If you would like to leave, our feelings will not be hurt.
I'll be crushed personally.
Got homework.
Yeah, you got homework.
Not those kids.
And a few of them have decisions to work on.
You want me to take it?
That's humbling.
All right, continuing our recognitions here, we're going to recognize our, we'll wait here. We're going to recognize, we are really excited to recognize our Warren Teacher of the Year with Mr. Nelson. So Mr. Nelson, if you come up, please. So, Mr. Nelson, we did recognize Mr. Nelson at a Staff Institute Day previously. Let them know the way this works is that teachers are nominated by their peers, and then there's a voting process by the peers. So Tony was nominated and then chosen by his peers. We're really proud of him. I remember one of the first days I was in the district, he came in my office and he said, "Hey, I'm going to tell you what's really going on here." And I knew I could trust him immediately because he was wearing a Cincinnati Reds shirt. So I felt pretty good about that. Tony and I also have a little bit in common because he worked out in Rockford East at the beginning of his career, Rockford East High School, and I lived and worked also in Rockford. So he's been here since we opened the Almond campus. Is that right?
Yep, I'm an Almond original.
Almond original. Let's see, teaches primarily chemistry and physics. Really proud of his involvement with the chess club and the astronomy club. And then we got a good quote in there that he's got, that he references. He says, as Carl Sagan once said, we're all star stuff. So, Tony, I don't know if you have anything that you want to say or.
Nothing more than just I appreciate being here in the district. It's been a good career here. I was hired literally back in 1997. That's a quick story. I was originally supposed to be interviewed over at the Old Plain campus. And I was coming from Rockford, never been here to Gurnee before, so I got turned around, and I ended up accidentally at this location of the unfinished, unopened Almond Road campus. And so I thought, oh, this is a big school. I don't think I'm in the right place, though. And cornfields all around. So whenever I come back to the school, which is, of course, every day, I still think about that and just how much the school has changed, how much the community has grown, and just how much this school has meant to me. I love this school. It has meant the world to me. I've had many opportunities to leave, but I've had many more opportunities and reasons to stay. So I'm grateful for the school.
We're grateful for you, too.
Thank you so much.
100%.
Absolutely.
For those that don't know, this is formally a part of the village's celebration, and so we recognize Tony with the staff. We're recognizing him here. The formal announcement and recognition comes, is it in a couple weeks?
Yes.
With the village of Gurnee. So we look forward to that. Appreciate you being here with us, Tony.
Thank you. Appreciate you all having me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Next up, I understand we have a retirement?
We have a retirement. So I'm going to walk through here a little bit. We got Mr. Drake that's here for his last board meeting here today. He's been on the board since 2015 and was president of the board for a couple of those years. I've got some different, it looks like different, just pictures of the different board members you've served
Same
with.
shirt in every picture.
They can look.
Probably are.
Nope.
You
Oh,
and
well,
yours.
so far. Let's see. You're basically every committee we could come up with. I think Tom's been on that at some point. We got some graduation pictures here. Oh, you're wearing a different shirt there. I think you're safe.
COVID picture.
COVID picture. Paul. Paul's got a memento.
Just want to give you a plaque in recognition and appreciation for serving on the Board of Education from 2015 to 23. Tom, I'm going to miss you.
I'm going to miss you too. We started together.
We did.
Awesome. Thank you.
And this goes with it. From solar field to how to get back to school during COVID, everything. I appreciated your guidance more than you realized.
So I appreciate it. No speeches other than to say this has been a very rewarding 8 years. I thought I could outlast everybody. The only people on this board when I started was John and Jean. So good luck, keep it going. I give. No, it's been a rewarding experience. The only other person I'd like to thank is my wife Angie, who's out in the audience. She
Thank
wasn't
you, Angie.
necessarily
Thank you.
wasn't necessarily an official board member, but she got to hear plenty of discussion about the board, both good and bad, as we went through it. So I appreciate her help as well. So take care, everybody. I'll be back. I attended the board for 2 years in the audience before I became a member, so don't be surprised if I show up in the audience to give you guys a piece of my mind.
We're counting on it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank
I
you,
would like
Tom.
to say thank you as well, Tom, because we've spent all 8 years of those together, and I've always appreciated your counsel. It's always been very good, well thought out, and, with an engineer's mind, which I totally lack, by the way. And so I totally appreciate your commitment, your integrity, and you're just overall being a good person, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate you. So, good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Well, it hasn't been that long since I've been on the board with you, but one of the things I really appreciated about you being a board member is exactly the engineering mind. You don't react with emotion. You logically think through and calmly articulate your thoughts on a subject, and they're succinct and they're clear and they're understandable. And I just think your heart has been in the right place for the work that is being done here. I very much admire you as a board member, and I appreciate everything you've done for Warren as well.
I'm new on this board. I've had experience both ways. I've been the old guy and the new guy, and I'm the new guy here, and I appreciate your mentorship and your friendship.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate that.
Tom, I've always appreciated conversations and a lot of texts after meetings. I appreciate the support and your opinions, whether they're in line or different from other people or ways of thinking. You always come across very professional and very accurate, and I'm going to miss that.
I appreciate that. Thank you, guys. That's enough now.
Next up, public comment. This is the opportunity, if anybody would like to address the board, they're more than welcome to come to the podium and address the board for 3 minutes. Nobody has signed up ahead of time, but that does not prevent anybody. If you would like to address the board, now is your time. Okay, I'm going to assume nobody's going to come up. I always give it a little bit extra time because one time I cut somebody off as they were finally standing up, so apologize for any delay. Next up is, we're skipping, there is nothing in the president's report, so we're going to go right on to committee reports.
We don't have anything to add unless the board has questions about what's submitted.
Let's go right on to superintendent's report then.
The only thing I'd add to what's submitted is just a recognition that we've got 2 of our students here today. We've got Jess and Kyle, and so as you're going through, if you have questions for Jess and Kyle, I'll make sure you utilize their perspectives. that's all I have.
Going right on to the consent agenda. Tom, do you want to read this for the last time?
Sure. I move to approve the consent agenda items as presented, which includes personnel recommendations per Exhibit A, numbers 143 through 150 as posted. Number 151, Michael Engel, resignation, and number 152, Emily Arcos, new hire. There is no Exhibit B at this meeting. The payment of the bills dated April 25th, 2023, in the amount of $3,950,211.95. Regular meeting minutes and executive session minutes of April 11th, 2023. Acceptance and acknowledgement of gifts to the district. Approve the beginning of the annual audit and the audit engagement letter with Baker Tilly US LLP for fiscal year 23. And approve the school-wide Title I plan and waiver application for the 23-24 school year.
Second.
Roll call.
Motion by Drake, second by Schultz. Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Demonte?
Yes.
Mr. Carlson?
Yes.
Mr. Drake?
Yes.
Mr. Schultz?
Yes.
5 yes, motion carries.
Thank you. Moving forward on to discussion items. First up is talking about the safety consultant.
Yeah, we just wanted to provide the board with an opportunity to just comment, really not about maybe the content, but the fact that the board has engaged with a security consultant this year, a handful of months ago, and you did receive some communication from him, including today, met with him in closed session, and are expecting an upcoming written report. So just wanted to make sure the community was aware of that and give you an opportunity if you had any comments about that process.
Well, since we heard from him today, and I hadn't seen him the first time he was here, I really appreciated his report. I think it's very thorough, and it was kind of gratifying to hear somebody say that you're doing a lot of good work here in this area. Always room to improve, so, that's why we engage consultants in safety and security, and I think it's very important work that I am certainly very concerned about, as I'm sure everybody here is. So I'm glad we're doing it, and I think we're going to make some substantive changes, hopefully, that'll increase the safety and security of our students and our staff. That's all.
Anybody else?
I would just echo those thoughts. I like the fact that I think we did this in 19. Was it 19 or 17? 19. And we're doing it again so soon, and seeing some of the progress from last time with a few tweaks. Safety's important, more important than ever.
I will move on then. I was looking to get some feedback from the board on a final set of staffing recommendations for the upcoming year. So the context here is the referendum passed, and the board asked us to be looking through and considering what types of positions we both committed to through that referendum conversation with the community and also believe would be in the best interest of the students. So I'll show what we've done so far and what the board has given us generally the thumbs up for. And but first I want to go through this new set of requests. So these requests are really focused on our student services area of the school district for the most part. They are very targeted towards students that have higher levels of need. And hopefully you'll see that as I talk through the position. So there's and what I'm asking for is maybe some conversation around big picture. Is this what you're looking for? What would you like us to go back and do to polish this up to give you a formal proposal for these positions? So I don't have like a body count or an FTE count. I don't have dollars to this quite yet. We can come back to that if we're heading in the right direction. So the first one on there is an attendance and family support specialist. We continue to have a lot of attendance concerns in the school district. COVID and just increased mental health concerns contribute to that. And so we want to take that off of other people's plates right now. Our student services department as a whole is spending a lot of time on that and adding some resources to that we feel like would help. An intervention coordinator, we call this in our world an MTSS coordinator, a multi-tiered system of support coordinator, but think of it as interventions. So someone new that can come in and help oversee the process of if a student's struggling, how do we help them, measuring if that works, and if it's not working, how do we help them differently? If it is working, how do we need to continue that, or can we integrate them back into just the general curriculum or the general supports? Something that just focuses on that process and helps with the measurement and movement of students in and out of those interventions. We have a bilingual counselor in here. There's been a lot of discussion around counselors in general and the support that counselors can provide, not only academically, but in terms of social behavior, mental health, being an advocate for students, not only one-on-one, but in small groups. The way that I'm proposing this is that it be a bilingual counselor that will allow us to target groups of students right now that aren't getting specific second language support in their communication. So this isn't necessarily an English learner counselor that would only focus on students that are in specified EL programs. We would assign those students to this person's caseload, but then in order to bring that caseload up, we'd likely look at other families that maybe their child is fluent in English but is multilingual. Maybe the families communicate better in Spanish. So really trying to make sure that we are just better targeting the needs of our families and students that have this really specific need. We do feel like that will serve both the interests of reducing caseloads in general, but also give some unique support to multilingual families. Let's see, we've got a math teacher position in there. The purpose of that is to make sure that we can cover our math resource rooms or other real specific math tutoring needs. Right now, a lot of our math support needs they happen as we have staff available. So if I have fourth period lunch and there happens to be a teacher that has an opening there, can do a supervision in the math area in our math lab, then that's good for me. But I might have a friend who has seventh period lunch and there's no math teacher available because of our tight staffing. So the math teacher position is really meant to be able to make sure that we're providing consistent resources for struggling students in math throughout the day. We currently have a few credit recovery courses in both of our campuses. We call this AIM, the AIM program. This is for students that are credit deficient, gives them an opportunity to make up those credits. Most of the time have a teacher and a social worker in there that are helping students as a group and then one-on-one, but oftentimes when the teacher and the social worker are helping students one-on-one, we've got a gap, and it would be helpful if we could have someone there that's helping these students stay on task, have direction, and not be able to just continue those habits that got them into the credit recovery need because a teacher or the social worker might be working with a student one-on-one. And then we've got in there a request for dean of students that generally would help us not only address behavior in the school, but also help us be more proactive with our restorative practices, conferencing with students, contacting families, and instead of being in a reactive role when students misbehave, being a proactive role to try to prevent those behaviors, but also then when students make poor decisions, work through that process as opposed to just doling out discipline to them. The requests we made so far, I won't go through those, but up to this point, the board's given us the okay to move forward with about $1.2 million worth of positions without getting into the numbers. Here, this is another significant ask for the upcoming year, but we feel like this aligns with just community expectations. So I'll open the floor for questions.
I don't have a question as much as a comment. I mean, I appreciate the description of all these positions, and I'm very open. I like the path we're going down. But until we get like a total cost for all these positions, it's really hard to give any more support to it because we have to see how they're going to fit into our financial projections going down the road. So I'll be very curious once we get those financial projections.
Yeah, I'd echo that. So kind of consistent with a lot of my comments in regards to our forward-looking spending thoughts over the last few meetings. We've got a number of levers that we're pulling, right? We've got levers in the area of staffing, we've got a facility audit that's going to kick off with our architecture firm. We've been holding out on maintenance for years to balance our budget, so we're behind there. It won't be my problem to solve going forward, unfortunately, but, you know, and I'm not suggesting nobody here doesn't appreciate the responsibility given to us with the passing of the referendum, but we have to be critically purposeful on the total visibility of everything that we're doing, whether it's staffing, whether it's facility maintenance, whatever it is. We've got a couple of open items. Obviously, we're in the middle of negotiations, which isn't done yet, so we don't know where that's going to land, but all of that comes into play. It's very important that you guys have complete visibility to all the different pieces and what they add up to, including a line item in there to build reserves back. We haven't been at the proper level of reserves my 8 years on the board. We've never been where we should have been. So it's important to have visibility to that looking forward, just critical, or we'll be in trouble fast.
First off, I'd like to say I am 100%, like all of these positions. I think this is exactly what we talked about during the referendum. It's what we said we wanted to do, and I think it's good that we've started at least 1.2 million worth, which is no small thing. But I like these other positions as well, and I think if we should do it for 100% if it makes sense, in all the other ways, financially and so on. But whether we can hire all those people in 1 year is a whole nother question within itself. But we got to try. So, and I think trying is because we will be helping the students in a way that they need to be helped, and I think that's 100% one of the reasons why the referendum passed, because people could see that this was needed, and the community wants us to do it. So we have to figure it out, and I think we're all here to figure that out. So, and that's that's it for me.
Helpful. Well, so we will go back and continue to flesh this out a little bit, and then we can bring it to you at the next board meeting for continued conversation. I appreciate the feedback.
Next up are action items. First one is the approval of the strategic plan for 2023 through 2028.
Yeah, I feel like I've talked about this at nauseum with y'all. So I appreciate all the feedback we've gotten. Really appreciative of the students that have helped us throughout the process. A couple of them are here tonight. I don't have anything to add other than what's on the agenda.
I think it's really good.
It's really good work.
It's outstanding.
Yeah. I really love the way it came out with the student involvement and everything, because, we may have not been the best at that over the last few years, but we were too busy bailing, I guess, maybe to look at everything. But I'm really excited the process that we went through on this, and I think and if you two young people were involved, we appreciate what you did. So thank you very much. And certainly, if you have any comments about it, we'd love to hear what your experience was during this process, the strategic plan. So.
I mean, I know this is a relatively new thing. I think I've been having these student voices, and I think it was a really important step that I love that Dr. Wiesman did. I think having our voices here really added some new context to how students actually see the school and in all aspects about it. So yeah, I just wanted to come and say thank you for having us here and including us, especially Dr. Wiesman.
I've been involved in many strategic plans over the years, and I've never seen anything like this. And I particularly was impressed with the students moderating the teachers. I get a big kick out of that, and I think they did too.
That had to be fun.
That was it. I had a little trepidation. I thought, how would a student do that? But they handled it beautifully.
Yeah, I think the level of student involvement was amazing. I just started when we had the last strategic plan. It almost seemed like students were involved because got to make sure we had some students involved, and that was it. This time I feel like they were almost driving the process. And the way you phrased it, to have a student voice involved in all this, that's phenomenal. That's what we're looking for. It's like, okay, this is the way we're going to be moving forward, that the students should have a more vocal opinion and strategy of what's going on. So thank you to you two and everybody else, every other student that had anything to do with this process.
I have nothing more to add to that. That whole great comments by all here, except for just want to reiterate, Dr. Wiesman. We know that we didn't hire an outside consultant for this. You came in with this skill set, and we know that you're responsible for at least pushing that student voice even further than it ever has been in the past. So I just want to echo what's been said, which is thank you for your leadership through it.
Appreciate that.
Comments? If not, I move to approve the strategic plan 2023 through 2028 as presented.
Second.
Roll call.
Motion by Schultz and second by Drake. Mr. Carlson?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Demonte?
Yes.
Mr. Drake?
Yes.
Mr. Schultz?
Yes.
5 yes, motion carries.
Thank you. Next up is the approval of the student fees.
We're not recommending any increases in student fees. We continue to get COVID relief grant dollars for at least one other year.
Questions or comments? If not, I move to approve the student fees for the 23-24 school year as presented.
Second.
Roll call.
Motion by Schultz and second by Anderson. Mr. Demonte?
Yes.
Mr. Carlson?
Yes.
Mr. Drake?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Schultz?
Yes.
5 yes, motion carries.
Next up is approval of the student parent handbook changes.
We don't have anything to add. There was a lot of conversation about this a couple weeks ago, but if you have any other questions, we're happy to answer those.
Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Looks good.
I move to approve the changes in the 2023-24 student parent handbook.
Second.
Roll call.
Motion by Schultz, second by Carlson. Mr. Drake?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Demonte?
Yes.
Mr. Carlson?
Yes.
Mr. Schultz?
Yes.
5 yes, motion carries.
Thank you. Next up is approval of insurance rates.
Probably should talk about this one a little bit. So Mike, you want to give them?
Sure. We had a renewal with EBC coming up for FY '24. The HMO plan came back at a 10.5% increase. The PPO plan came back at a 13.4. Dental went up by 2.6, and the rates for vision went up by 1.96% for the following year.
So these are, thanks Mike for that. These are some pretty significant increases. So that might be a reason why you'd want to discuss this. I did spend some time looking around at other cooperatives at their rates, and there generally is just higher rates this year. Some of that everybody assumes is a continuation of nobody did anything for a year and a half or 2 years during the pandemic, and now some people are catching up on things. Generally, there are, in some of our neighboring school districts, when I looked around, they're seeing rates that are comparable to this year. That doesn't mean we shouldn't talk about it, but that's kind of where we're at.
My memory says that the rates increases the last couple of years were actually pretty small increases. So this is the catch-up.
Low single digits. This is
Yeah.
pretty much a COVID lag plus inflation to be kind of a catch-up.
When we went to them, we went down significantly.
Yes.
Correct.
I
Yes.
mean, so we're not even back up to where it was
We're not back.
before.
I don't believe we're at
Yeah,
pre-EBC
EBC levels, yeah, so we're, not that, this is not a huge increase, it is, but, I mean, if it was us by ourselves, I would be concerned, but if it's everybody in the same boat, then insurance is insurance, you gotta have it, so.
Basically,
There was-
nothing we could do about this. This is a given.
That was one of my questions. I've been involved in insurance enough throughout time that you can't overreact to 1 year, increases or get too excited about 1 year decreases. But my question is more, as a school, what are we doing to proactively minimize our increases? I mean, do we ever compare ourselves to like-sized schools to see how do we compare to them? Like, can we change plan designs? Have we looked at different co-ops? Anything?
When did we change to this co-op, EBC? Do you remember, Mike?
2019, I want to say.
Yeah,
Sounds
so
about
we
right.
did that and
Yeah. We went
changed
from Lakes
to
Region.
EBC from the one we'd been with for a long time.
So
now
is
it-
it worth, looking up?
I don't see why we wouldn't. I mean, it's not for next year,
Yeah.
but for the,
I mean, I
For
think
the
it's
next
too,
year.
it's too easy to get in the habit and going, oh, insurance costs went up again. Okay, let's not just sit in our hands, what can we do to lower our costs? It's a big spend.
Wellness programs and things like that, I'm assuming we do that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we do have an insurance committee, that's a board committee, and you can charge that committee with doing, an example would be you could charge them with doing that work and going out and getting some comparables and bringing it back to you. Most of the work that our insurance committee does is more wellness initiative based things. So they're really pushing staff to use Teledoc regularly, use the benefits advisor that Blue Cross Blue Shield has, utilize the free flu shots, get the blood draws at the beginning of the year. So some of those wellness, maybe some morale booster activities during the year, encouraging them to participate in wellness events. This probably isn't something we.
Cost them less than insurance, maybe they're motivated.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, most of the insurance committee's work has been wellness related. I don't think we've done a large scale comparison. We did talk about that in the last insurance committee meeting. Is maybe the board might ask for that.
We're looking at a fully funded.
So we can't change plan designs?
We can offer additional plan designs.
Right now, the contract with the association, with the union, requires us to offer at least the same plans with the same design that we have now. We could offer additional plans that might be utilized differently and might have some cost savings or be win-wins.
So how do we move forward to ask the insurance committee to work on some of these things?
I think you're doing that right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make
You're
sure
doing
that was
right now.
clear that, yeah. I mean, I want to be very proactive on our insurance costs. I mean, it's nice that they've been good the last couple of years, but
I don't know, it would be difficult to imagine we could do anything for next year at this point.
Correct. Yeah.
No,
This
no, no,
year-
we can't.
yeah,
No,
this
I don't
year,
think
yeah.
we can.
It's for the next year.
Right, looking forward.
Got it.
Absolutely, yeah,
Understand, 100%.
yep.
Yeah, maybe Dr. Engel can help me with this a little bit, like timeline. I'm guessing like late fall.
We'd have to come up with a plan design and actually cost out and maybe shop around different cooperatives or look at a fully insured plan ourselves. So, I mean, let's say September, October. Yeah.
Start having those conversations
Cost
again.
involved in that? In the search itself?
People's time.
Necessarily, it's just time. Yeah, lots of
Insurance
time.
broker should be doing that for
Yeah.
us.
Yes.
Okay,
Lots
thank
of
you.
time.
Anything else?
Nope, not for me.
If not, I move to approve the medical, dental, vision, and life insurance premiums with Educational Benefit Cooperative for the 23-24 school year as presented.
Second.
Roll call.
Motion by Schultz and second by Drake. Mr. Demonte?
Yes.
Mr. Carlson?
Yes?
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Drake?
Yes.
Mr. Schultz?
Yes.
5 yes, motion carries.
Thank you. Next up is an approval for additional voluntary life insurance.
So this is no cost to the district, but it's an additional benefit that we could offer to staff members. Allows them to partnered on to the life insurance options that they have. Allows them to purchase additional life insurance through the same organization.
Questions? I move to approve offering additional voluntary life insurance for staff from Reliance Matrix through the Educational Benefit Cooperative for the 23-24 school year as presented.
Second.
Roll call.
Motion by Schultz and second by Anderson. Mr. Drake?
Yes.
Mr. Demonte?
Yes.
Mr. Carlson?
Yes?
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Schultz?
Yes.
5 yes, motion carries.
Next up is an approval to expend funds for the next school year. I know this is kind of something we do every year, but for the newer board members, Dr. Engel, if you could explain what this is for?
Sure. It gives us the authority to start spending next year's funds prior to the official budget being approved. And it really helps us out this time of year, especially for longer lead time items that will be arriving next fiscal year anyway. Perfect example, lockers for PE, or excuse me, gym locks for PE. You're looking at about a 10-week lead time on those right now for our quantity.
Questions? If not, I move to approve expending no more than 25% of the tentative budget expenditures for the 23-24 school year as necessary to operate the district before a final budget is approved.
Second.
Roll call.
Motion by Schultz and second by Drake. Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Demonte?
Yes.
Mr. Carlson?
Yes.
Mr. Drake?
Yes.
Mr. Schultz?
Yes.
5 yes, motion carries.
Next up is approval for a video surveillance system. Is there anything new since what we
We don't
talked
have
about last
anything new
week?
since the last discussion on this.
This is something, though, that was also in our security reports, that you need to upgrade your video and your software that runs your video and how you can access it because it's too slow.
Yes.
So,
All of which we're doing.
yes.
Right, it was nice to see we were doing it before the consultant said you should be doing this. So, thank you, Chris, and everybody else involved in this.
Does he deduct that recommendation from his invoice then?
I'm sure he will. It's a line item. There's no other comments. I move to approve the purchase of the Vergata video surveillance system for the amount of $720,613.49, and the purchase of additional Vergata door access materials in the amount of $74,037.08.
Second.
Motion by Schultz, second by Carlson.
Roll call.
Mr. Demonte?
Yes.
Mr. Drake?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Carlson?
Yes.
Mr. Schultz?
Yes.
5 yes, motion carries.
Thank you. Next up is a resolution for interfund transfer for capital projects.
This is taking our roofing project, the $3,081,095, taking it from Fund 20, moving over to Fund 60, which is capital projects for the expenditures for the rest of the foreseeable summer.
People, Fund 20 is,
Buildings and grounds,
and it's going to?
capital projects.
Okay, so it's just moving funds from one number
You
to
got it.
another.
Yep.
Okay.
And this is the monies going all the way back to the bond of 18?
December of
or-
18.
Yeah, okay.
Questions?
Nope.
I move to approve the resolution authorizing permanent interfund transfer for capital projects purposes in the amount of $3,081,095.
Second.
Roll call.
Motion by Schultz and second by Drake. Mr. Demonte?
Yes.
Mr. Carlson?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Drake?
Yes.
Mr. Schultz?
Yes.
5 yes, motion carries.
Next up is approval for a 3-year bus lease.
We have 4 77-passenger luggage compartment buses that we need. And we also have a 45+2 wheelchair accessible bus that would be replacing our larger, I believe it's a 66+1. So this actually has 2 spots for wheelchairs versus just the one. It's replacing what we've had. So, any questions? Okay, thank you.
I move to approve a 3-year bus lease for 4 77-passenger luggage compartment buses and 1 45+2 passenger bus with Midwest Transit equipment as presented.
Second.
Roll call.
Motion by Schultz and second by Anderson. Mr. Carlson?
Yes.
Mr. Drake?
Yes.
Mr. Demonte?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Schultz?
Yes.
5 yes, motion carries.
Next up is approval of summer workers.
Yeah, so this is pretty much like every other summertime. We have buildings and grounds help that comes in, also tech help over the summer. We have an estimate of a not to exceed number this evening for summertime help. So buildings and grounds not to exceed $23,072, and for education department not to exceed $23,674.24 between both departments.
Where do we get these people?
They're typically returning students. Sometimes they're college students coming
kids and
back,
stuff.
yeah.
But it's mostly all students, our
Our
students.
organization, or do we just post it and they come back, or?
Kind of post and come back.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a 25-cent differentiator if you come back in years past, so you make a little bit more. Yeah.
I move to approve the 2023 summer workers for the buildings and grounds and educational technology departments as presented.
Second.
Roll call.
Motion by Schultz and second by Drake. Mr. Carlson?
Yes.
Mr. Demonte?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Drake?
Yes.
Mr. Schultz?
Yes.
5 yes, motion carries.
Next up is the declaration of the election results. Should I just read this?
You can just read it.
The Lake County Clerk canvassed the voters following the April 4th, 2023 consolidated election, and the abstract of votes was certified on April 20th, 2023. The following candidates were elected to the Warren Township High School Board of Education: Beth Pope, Stephen E. Carlson, and Tony DeMonte. So next up is, they have to administer their oath. So, you moving?
Everybody get out there in front so we can watch you.
Yeah, right.
They won't be able to hear us unless we.
Miss Beth Pope, if you're in the building, could you step up here, please? Miss Beth Pope.
Paging Beth Pope.
She could do the podium if she wanted, or here.
Go anywhere you want. Matter of fact, I think it'd be great if all three of you went up to the podium.
Yeah, yeah.
Mr. Stephen E. Carlson, please go to the podium. Tony, you
Do
can
you want
blame
us
those
up
two
there,
for that. Yep.
Mr. President? He's pulling rank right now. That's fine.
That way you guys can coordinate your speech.
Ever. You really want us to read this whole thing simultaneously?
Yes, as we rehearse simultaneously.
Take the lead, Beth.
Beth will take the lead.
All right. I, Beth Pope,
Steve Carlson. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of member of the Board of Education of the Warren Township High School Board District 121 in accordance with the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and the laws of the State of Illinois to the best of my ability.
Slow down.
I
He's gotta
further
keep
swear,
up.
what is the
I
long
further
deal?
swear
Or affirm that
I shall respect taxpayer interests
by serving as a faithful protector of the school district's assets. I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinion by my fellow board members
and
and others who seek a hearing before the board while respecting the privacy of students and employees. I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority as an individual, and that decisions can be made only by a majority vote at a public board meeting. I shall abide by the majority decisions of the board while retaining the right to seek changes in such decisions through ethical and constructive channels. As part of the Board of Education, I shall accept the responsibility for my role in the equitable and quality education of every student in the school district. I shall foster, with the board, extensive participation of the community, formulate goals, define outcomes, and set the course for Warren Township High School District 121. I shall assist in establishing a structure and an environment designed to ensure all students have the opportunity to attain their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework. I shall strive to ensure a continuous assessment of student achievement and all conditions affecting the education of our children in compliance with state law. I shall serve as education's key advocate on behalf of students in our community school or schools to advance the vision for Warren Township High School District 121. And I shall strive to work together with the district superintendent to lead the school district forward, fulfilling the vision the board has created, fostering excellence for every student in the areas of academic skills, knowledge, citizenship, and personal development.
Got it. That went better than I thought.
Official, you've been relieved.
President will administer
The oath in an open board meeting.
We should redo this.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
You gotta come sit down now.
Yeah, yes. Yes.
Yeah, you do have to
You
come
know,
sit down now, Ms. Pope.
Anybody ever been at a birthday party with like 40 people and they're all singing at different times the song? That's kind of how I felt.
Out of tune. That was brutal.
Motion to
okay, that's okay.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
So again, welcome, returning board members and new board members. We greatly appreciate having all three of you on the board. It's going to be amazing to have you together.
Thank you.
Welcome back, and welcome, Beth.
Thank you.
Very excited.
Next up is the adjournment sine. So I move to adjourn sine for the final time as the current Board of Education.
Second?
Roll call.
Motion by Schultz, excuse me, and second by Anderson. Mr. Drake,
One last vote.
One last time.
Mr. Carlson,
Yes.
Mr. Demonte,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
and Mr. Schultz.
Yes.
5 yes, motion carries. It is 8:39.
All right.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint John Anderson as President Pro Tem.
Until a board member has been elected to serve as president of the WTH Board of Education.
You have all that, I don't. That's what I meant.
Second.
Roll call.
I have to catch up here, I'm sorry.
Quite all right.
We're not going anywhere.
So motion by Carlson, second by Anderson.
It was second by Schultz.
Schultz.
I'm sorry, thank you. Mr. Demonte,
Yes.
Mr. Carlson,
Yes?
Mrs. Pope. And, let's see, who have I forgotten? Mr. Anderson
Yes.
and Mr. Schultz.
Yes.
I have 5 yes, motion carries.
I'm sorry about that, I'm dropping the ball. I'd like to appoint Tony DeMonte as Secretary Pro Tem and whatever else is on there.
Says I move to appoint Tony DeMonte as Secretary Pro Tem until a board member has been elected to serve as Secretary of the WTHS Board of Education.
Second.
Roll call.
Motion by Carlson and second by Schultz. Mr. Demonte.
Yes.
Mrs. Pope.
Yes.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Schultz.
Yes.
Mr. Carlson.
Yes.
5 yes, motion carries.
Okay, so now we need to open up the reorganization meeting of the agenda, which is when we elect new officers, which we do every 2 years in conjunction with the board election. So everybody just gets elected as a board member, and then the board elects officers, amongst ourselves. So, we'll call the meeting to order. May we have a roll call?
Mr. Anderson.
Here.
Mrs. Blair is absent. Mr. Carlson.
Here?
Mr. Demonte.
Here.
Mrs. Martinez is absent. Mrs. Pope.
Here.
Mr. Schultz.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, the first item is to nominate for a president. So at this time, the board will elect its officers. Nominations are now in order for the office of president. Any member of the board may nominate any other member, and nominations do not require a second. I nominate Paul Schultz. Paul Schultz is nominated. Are there any other nominations for the office of president? If there are no further nominations, nominations for the president are closed. May I have a motion to elect Paul Schultz for the office of president?
So moved.
I moved the board approve the election of Paul Schultz as president of the Warren Township High School, effective immediately. Roll call.
Carlson is first, you're second? Okay, thank you. Roll call, Mr. Demonte.
Yes.
Mrs. Pope.
Yes.
Mr. Schultz.
Abstain.
No, you can't.
Mr. Carlson.
You should have voted no disregard. Yes.
And Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
We have 4 yes and 1 abstention. Motion carries.
Yeah, we almost didn't get him. All right, so now we need the election of the vice president. Same thing goes on, so nominations are now open for the office of vice president. Any member of the board may nominate any other member, and nominations do not require a second. I nominate Steve Carlson. Steve Carlson is nominated. Are there any other nominations for the office of vice president? If there are no further nominations, nominations for vice president are closed. May I have a motion to elect Steve Carlson for the office of vice president? You guys gonna make me do all this? Yeah. Jeez. I move to approve the election of Steve E. Carlson as vice president of the Warren Township High School, effective immediately.
Second.
Roll call.
Motion by Anderson and second by Schultz. Mrs. Pope?
Yes.
Mr. Demonte?
Yes.
Mr. Carlson?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
And Mr. Schultz?
Yes.
5 yes, motion carries.
All right. Nominations are now in order for the office of secretary. Any member of the board may nominate any other member, and nominations do not require a second. I nominate Natalia Martinez. No. Natalia Martinez is nominated. Are there any other nominations for the office of secretary? If there are no further nominations, nominations for the secretary are closed. May I have a motion to elect Natalia Martinez to the office of secretary? I move the board approve the election of Natalia Martinez as secretary of the Warren Township High School, effective immediately.
Second.
Roll call.
Motion by Anderson and second by Schultz. Mr. Carlson?
Yes.
Mr. Demonte?
Yes.
Mrs. Pope?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Schultz?
Yes.
5 yes, motion carries.
Okay. I officially return my duties as President Pro Tem over to current President Paul Schultz.
Brings us on to just the announcements of the dates and times for the regular board meetings. They're posted on the school website and in board docs. So I won't bore everybody by reading through every one of them, but they are made public and found very easily. Anything else we need to discuss tonight?
I'd just like to say, welcome, Beth. This is really going to be a lot of fun and really easy. We tell that to all the new board members. We lie right through our teeth to get them to run.
I detect a facetious moment.
But
Thank you,
But
Mr.
don't worry,
Anderson.
the pay makes it all worthwhile.
I'm only here for the pay.
Okay.
Yeah, and so
Knowing Beth as well as I do, I'm sure it's gonna be a lot of fun.
it will be fine.
It will be.
But I'm serious. We are so happy to have you. And
Thank
you
you.
worked so hard on the referendum, actually.
Thank you.
Between you and Mitch and everybody else, you guys did such a great, Aaron, you guys did such great work. And we're only being able to do the things we did because of the work of a lot of people. But you were the ramrod. Make no mistake.
This was a
And there's-
community effort. This was a community.
Yeah. It took the entire village, and you got them all moving, so thank you. And anyway, welcome, and we'll continue to have progress.
And fun.
Fun for sure.
Thank you.
No problem. If there's nothing else, I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Roll call.
Motion by Schultz and second by Anderson. Mr. Demonte?
Yes.
Mr. Carlson?
Yes.
Mrs. Pope?
Yes.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Schultz?
Yes.
5 yes, motion carries.